I'm very pleased to welcome to the In the Can stage, Elvis Nolasco.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. With a name like Elvis, you know, you saying, you know, a song. You know, like, wait a minute.
That's
no,
right.
we don't sing.
Well, I have to say, I was fortunate, even though I grew up in the weeds and farm country, that somehow hip hop found me, and so to think back about some of these earliest days, it just puts a smile on my face of all the groups that I remember so fondly. Talk a little bit about your recollections, not so much maybe necessarily just of that particular time, but also about your involvement in this really cool and really important project.
Yeah, we're talking about Roxanne Roxanne, which is the film about Roxanne who was known as the first, pretty much the first female rapper who broke grounds with the early battle wars, the bridge wars in New York. Whether it was Queens against the Bronx or Manhattan against Queens, you know, and it's a time period that I remember really well, and wow, what an incredible time to be able to come up listening to these battle raps, especially like Roxanne, when she got on the mic, and to be a female and to be so young at that time, and so brave, you know, as a young lady. Really put a stamp on rap, and what is that to be female empowered and standing up for yourself. So to be part of a film like this is, wow, when the offer came up, there was no way I was going to say no.
And last night I was watching some old footage of Roxanne from those days, and of course much is made of the fact that she was a female, but if you watch those tapes, I mean, first of all, Marley Marl, it's huge to have that kind of a legendary DJ and those beats behind her. But there is, I mean, to say that there's swag in the frame in every shot. I mean, the fact that she was a girl had nothing to do with the fact that she was going straight at UTFO and amazing stuff. Talk about your experience with the production and what the vibe was on the set, to be addressing this historic material, and what your experience was like being involved in the project.
Well, it was a really amazing vibe, you know. The whole thing was just the setup of it, in being that it was a project that is being produced by Mimi Valdez and Nini Yang, who come from Dope and Fruitvale Station. Already knowing that you're working with these producers that already have had films with much success in Sundance, and then knowing the cast you're working with, you know, Kevin Phillips and Mahershala Ali and the great Nia Long. So, you know, it was just an atmosphere where everyone knew that they showing up to do and be part of something amazing, epic. And, you know, when I was offered this role, I did my little research, and of course, I knew the name Michael Arnell sounded familiar. And then I was like, wait a minute.
For a really good reason.
Yeah, for a really good reason. That's the guy from Cronies.
Yeah.
And I went back and watched the film again on Netflix, and you know, it's just one of these things that, like, when you watch Cronies and the way the film is shot and just everything about that film, you know that you're going to walk into a set, you know, of a collective amount of creative people, that you have a feeling that magic is going to be made. And you know, we were talking before we got started, and you're like, I haven't seen the clip, and you know, this is the world premiere at Sundance, so I think a lot of us haven't seen any of it, but since I got here yesterday, there's just been really good talk and really good vibes about the project, so I'm excited to see it.
Here's a question regarding Michael, because I want to say that he was still in film school, I think, when he directed Cronies, which is completely insane.
Yeah, another part of wanting to also work with Michael was knowing that he studied with Spike Lee, and Spike Lee is someone that I've been working with since '94 when we did Clockers together. And you know, I've worked with a number of Spike Lee's film students, directors, and I knew immediately that, man, whoever this guy is, you know, he's got an eye, and, you know, if you see Cronies, you see that it's been executive produced by Spike Lee. He put his stamp on it, so, you know, he's got that support, so obviously, you're dealing with someone who has an eye, has a vision, and is a creative mind. So, you know, again,
but a very young guy to be
very
direct.
Young guy.
He certainly wasn't around
Very
when
young
Roxanne
guy.
Shante was.
Yeah, no, but you could tell that when I read the script, that was one of the things that really grabbed me, because he also wrote the script. So when I read the script, you know, and then doing a little bit of research, and this guy being so young, only one film, you know, it was just one of those things where you just couldn't pass, you know. So he's got a great future in front of him, you know, I have no doubt. So, you know, I'm looking forward to. He reminded me a lot of John Ridley, actually, when I met Michael. Very soft-spoken, but constantly thinking. You know that he's putting stuff together.
There's stuff happening. Things are going forward, even if it looks very still on the outside.
Yeah, and a visionary. So, you know, working with him is just a matter of just trusting that even though he's young and hasn't had a lot of film under his belt, that you knew that the directions and whatever he was giving you was coming from a place of, you know, of a visionary. So yeah, it's an amazing experience for me.
You know, I've been thinking a lot about, in some cases, avoiding the use of the word genre because it can be limiting. And last night, as I was prepping for our interview, it occurred to me that in this case, the beautiful thing about using the word genre is that hip-hop and film, the history, the chronicling, whether it be documentary film, whether it be a dramatic film like this, Straight Outta Compton, these very, very important films, hip-hop cinema is a genre now in 2017. Do you feel similarly that way?
Absolutely, because there's just so many stories from that era that needs to be told, and I'm sure will be told. And I think that right now we're at the perfect point in time of that. So a lot of stories will be retold, reinterpreted, but you know, even with Roxanne Shante, which is really amazing, because like I grew up in the whole hip hop era. You know, I started breakdancing in New York. I grew up with Rocksteady Crew, and we had a female breakdancer, which was probably the first female breakdancer, Daisy Castro, also known as Baby Love. And if you watch old Rocksteady videos and documentaries, you see, or even Beach Street, she's in Beach Street. You watch this young girl breakdancing, and all of these stories needs to be told. And you know, hip hop, whether it's graffiti, breakdancing, MCing, DJing. It's
hip-hop
just
culture,
it's
all the way
hip-hop culture is
across.
a genre that people are going to slowly, you know, start telling more and more stories. So I'm excited about it.
I am too.
I'm excited about it,
I
think
love all the stories.
Yeah,
for sure.
and one of the things too that I really was really appreciative of, being that I come from that era, was that everything, like the clothing, the Adidas, the rope chains, the bamboo earrings, you know, even the cars on the set, you know, for the budget and for the type of production that it was, like they were really on point with all of these
So
little,
fresh.
nuances. Yeah, so it was really great.
Hey Elvis, if you would share with folks your social media handles, et cetera, so they can follow you. That's the thing in 2017, right? We gotta go straight to the source.
Well, I'm on Facebook fan page, Elvis Nolasco, on Twitter, EO Nolasco, and on Instagram, Elvis Nolasco. So wherever you go on either one of those social media, Elvis Nolasco. There's not too many of us.
That's right.
So
the one and only.
Yeah. You won't miss it.
Elvis
You won't miss it.
Nolasco, thank you so
Oh,
much.
man.
Respect to the DR.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Thank you so much for being here.
All
Best
right.
wishes for a wonderful Sundance, and I hope to see you again.
I'm excited.
Excellent. All right, you guys, what's happening? Oh, we've got some time. We're going to go to a quick break. We'll be back with more film after this. Please stay tuned.